Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, as it is now official. The Tennessee Titans are promoting Tim Kelly, the now former pass game coordinator for the Titans, to now being the new offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. And really, this is, I believe, all Mike Vrabel's decision. And apologies, by the way, if you're watching live. I had to wait until the end of Mike Vrabel's press conference and then get everything ready. If you're watching live, if you're not, then you don't care. So this promotion, and also we're going to discuss the other moves that were made on the coaching staff. This promotion, I'm sure, is not going to excite basically anyone. With that said, am I disappointed? No, not in the promotion. I am very disappointed in this process, though, because as far as I know for a fact, what I know for a fact, there are only two candidates. There are only two candidates that we interviewed. I have still not gotten definitive word. I don't think we got a definitive word now. We never talked to Eric Bieniemy. And I think we might have talked to Matt Nagy. Last time I was on the channel, we discussed Matt Nagy as a possibility, but I still haven't gotten confirmation whether or not we talked to him. The only two people that I know for a fact that were interviewed for this job are Tim Kelly and Charles London. And guess who got hired? Tim Kelly and Charles London. And this is the frustrating aspect of this, because yet again, Vrabel sticks with his boys. Charles London, who is coming on as going to be the new quarterbacks coach and pass game coordinator, was with Mike Vrabel in Houston. He was the running backs coach when Mike Vrabel was in Houston. Tim Kelly was the offensive, I want to say, a skill assistant or like some other position, quality control, and then ended up being tight ends coach when Mike Vrabel was in Houston. He loves his boys. And you know what? Okay. But guess what? Now you're on the clock. Because if this does not work out again, now it's time for your head to roll. Because if you're just going to keep getting your own guys and they keep failing, that's now on you. So this is it, man. If Tim Kelly does not succeed, even this season, I think really, if this season goes awry, and I'm talking 5, 6, 7 wins, even 7 wins, I think you have to seriously consider, I know it's crazy. He won Coach of the Year last year. I think you have to start to consider moving on from Mike Vrabel, or at the very least, he has to have less control. But good luck with that, because I've seen coaches not only in the NFL, but in the NBA, when you start trying to make decisions for their coaching staff, they don't like that too much, and then they'll leave. Hello, we had this with Mike Mularkey. We told him, hey, if you don't fire your offensive coordinator, you're going to leave, and then he left. Okay, so we've seen this with this team specifically. So here we go. I mean, this is your boy. Okay, this is your third boy. Arthur Smith did well. He left. Todd Downing did not do well, and you defended him. And this is also a frustrating aspect of this. If you had the thought, and we all know you did, stop the cap. If you had the thought that Tim Kelly might one day be my offensive coordinator, you had the perfect opportunity last season, as the offense was terrible, to go ahead and promote or to fire Todd Downing, promote Tim Kelly to interim offensive coordinator for a trial run so that you can see and we can see whether or not there's any improvement at all. You had that ability to have a trial run with Tim Kelly, and you didn't do it. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me, especially after the DUI. My goodness, he actually served his DUI. He ended up having to go to jail. He stayed in jail for 2 days. So he was guilty. Okay, so he was guilty. And you kept him. You kept him on the staff. You rode with him. You defended him. And now you're promoting another one of your boys, Tim Kelly. And look, I'm not saying that you can't promote from within side. It can work. Hell, it worked with Arthur Smith. It was great with Arthur Smith. Then he left. It can work. I'm not saying it can't work. But I think a lot of us wanted a different set of people in the room. I think we wanted more people in the room from the outside, people to bring new ideas to an offense that the last 2 seasons has become very stagnant. And I know it worked in 2019, it worked in 2020, and it worked extremely well. I'm 100% with you there. And that's more the last 2 seasons. I mean, you really have to feel at this point that we need a different set of eyes. We need something different. We're not getting that. It's going to be Tim Kelly. And look, I actually think he did a decent job for the Houston Texans. Decent. Now, he wasn't great either. Okay, he was the offense coordinator for the Houston Texans from 2019 through 2021. In 2019, the offense was good. Okay, it was good. That was the best year, by the way. He had the best run game that he had in Houston, because the next 2 years, the run game was non-existent. It was terrible. Now, part of that was because I don't know why they decided that, hey, let's give David Johnson a shot, even though he was clearly done. And then they also decided to give opportunities like Duke Johnson and then Rex Burkhead. I mean, there are terrible personnel decisions made for the running back. So I'll excuse him a little bit there. There wasn't much to work with in the running back room. In terms of the offenses, though, totally. 2019 was good. 2020 was decent, but the team was bad. They went 4-12 that year. And then the next year, the offense was truly terrible. Now, that was with Davis Mills as a rookie at the helm. And the one defense you can say is Davis Mills performed better in 2021 with Tim Kelly than he did in 2022. He regressed, in my opinion. Davis Mills has regressed without Tim Kelly. Barely. He was never good anyway. But he's regressed. He's gone from being one of the top 5 worst quarterbacks, at least to probably starter. He's still bottom 5, but now he's probably literally like the worst. Unless if you're like, still including like Baker Mayfield or something. But now he's like literally the worst. I don't think anyone's taking anyone over Davis Mills, really. Starting quarterbacks, when the season starts, I highly doubt it. And I highly doubt he's going to be starting ever again. I mean, 100% no, they're going to take their quarterback of the future and move the hell on, as they should. So he had a fine run, but a little underwhelming. I don't come from that run and say, wow, he did a great job. Now, occasionally there were great games that they had in his tenure there. And he did lead Deshaun Watson. I think his first season, let me see what the stats were for Deshaun Watson in 2019. I actually have it pulled up here. So his first season, he had, let me go back here. Yeah, so under Tim Kelly, Deshaun Watson, his first season in 2019, he had 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and then in 2020, he had 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Great stat line. Now, with that said, Deshaun Watson at this time was a great player. He was. I know we hate him, for now various reasons, but he was a good, very, very strong player. I mean, we have to admit that he was a very strong player at this time. Was Watson carrying Kelly, or was Kelly carrying Watson? Now, Watson doesn't look that good, but is that just because, he had to take 2 years off because he showed his penis to half of Houston? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I want to see how he plays next year, but this year he did not play that well. So there are reasons to believe that Tim Kelly is going to come in here and do good things. There's reasons to believe that. But then you hear Mike Vrabel during his press conference, and he's being asked more questions in terms of what did Tim Kelly actually do last season for this team? What did he actually contribute? And then you hear Mike Vrabel saying, well, he helped a lot in terms of preparation, in terms of our passing game on first and second down. Okay. Our passing game on first and second down was terrible. It was awful. It was the worst that this team has seen for 5 years. So that doesn't give me much encouragement. I mean, he was our pass game coordinator. Our pass game was terrible. It was awful. It was the worst it's been in 5 years. So did he even do a good job last year? No. As far as all indications that we can see, no. What is it to indicate that he did a good job last year? There's nothing. Unless if you just want to blame everything on Malik Willis. Okay, you can do that. Fine. Okay. Or on Tannehill, if you want to blame Tannehill, you could blame, or the offensive line, you could blame the. Who are we gonna? We just keep blaming different things. At the end of the day, we need to see production. We need to see things actually come together. We need to see things actually, perform well for us to say that for us to have confidence in this guy and other coaches to actually come in here and do well. So it's going to be interesting. Look, I don't hate it, although it seems like I think I just ran it for like 8 minutes, basically, or at least it feels like it. I don't hate it. I'm just saying it's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. I think he's going to do fine. I think he's going to do fine. If he does terrible, this has to start to go back on Vrabel, and it's his decision. See, and this is the thing. This is the thing. Remember when we fired John Robinson? Remember when we fired John Robinson? And I still have this theory, and look, I don't care what the reports are. I think Mike Vrabel wants more power and control, and this is yet another instance of Mike Vrabel seizing power and control. This is another instance of Mike Vrabel's way or the highway. Okay, well, we better be going somewhere, because if not, we got to get a different guy to, lead the charge, to drive. We need to get someone else. We keep talking about collaboration. We keep talking about wanting collaboration. Well, it looks like Mike Vrabel's running the show. He looks like Mike Vrabel is running the show. And it better work. And look, I'm excited. The Rand Carthon hire, and I think they're going to be a good duo. But if this starts to go sour, you have to start to look at Mike Vrabel. Now, let's also discuss the other, moves that were made here. So Charles London, the quarterbacks coach from the Atlanta Falcons, is now coming in to be the quarterbacks coach for us and the pass game coordinator. Okay, were the Falcons quarterbacks good the last 2 years? No. Now, Mariota wasn't terrible, but it was probably his second worst season ever. I would argue 2019 was definitely worse, but he only started 6 games. And then 2018 was probably worse. Although at least like that year he led us to the did we make the playoffs that year? Or did we just miss out? I think we just missed out. But it was his second worst season ever, at least. Maybe even his third. You could argue maybe his third. But yeah, Mariota was not that good this year. In fact, they were at times, it just looked like the Falcons were afraid to throw the football. Literally, they were afraid. I mean, they barely had any games where they even threw for 200 yards. Definitely not 250, 300 yards. They didn't use Kyle Pitts. Why? They didn't use Drake London enough. Why? Olamide Zacchaeus is a decent wide receiver. They barely used him. The Falcons offense should have been better, and it wasn't. He was the quarterback's coach in 2021 with Matt Ryan. He got more out of Matt Ryan in 2021 than Matt Ryan gave in 2022. So I'll defend him there. I don't think the Falcons offense was great in 2021. It wasn't bad. I think that was the year that actually were like kind of decent. They won I want to say 7 games that year. So it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. Okay, it definitely wasn't great either. So, I mean, fine. Okay, he could come in here and look. I actually like him. I've seen some of his interviews. I think he is a good football mind. I think he's on the come up. And, he's Vrabel's boy, and they get along. So, look, if he's going to come in here and add something different, great. He's worked now with mobile quarterbacks. So, potentially, look, Tannehill can be mobile, assuming his ankle isn't messed up. He can be mobile, so I would expect to see a little bit more with that, although he's going to be 35 soon, so I don't know how much mobile he's going to continue to be. And if we move on at quarterback and we get a mobile quarterback, you like that potential there. So, there's something there. And I think Ritter played well, at least the last game of the season, and fine in his first, how many games did he start? I think he ended up starting 4 games? Let me check Ritter's stat line again. I thought Ritter played fine. He only got 2 touchdowns in 4 games, which is pathetic. But I mean, who are we talking though? I mean, we basically do the same thing. Especially with Malik Willis at the helm. But no, I think Ritter played fine, especially his last game was definitely his strongest game, and that was the game he finally threw a touchdown. So he had 4 games, he had 2 touchdowns. I don't know why this Falcons team just could not throw the ball, man, and he was the quarterback's coach. I don't know. But Ritter was fine. He was fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't, terrific or anything spectacular, but he wasn't great. And then Mariota had 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. 2018, what did he have again? He had 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Oh, yeah, his 2017 was also pretty bad. So I'll argue this was, I don't know, would I take his 2018 over this year? I think I would. So I think this was Mariota's second worst season ever. Even 2019, though, even though we benched him, he had 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It was really that Denver game that was just really bad. And then I can't remember who we faced. That was the game he got benched. And then the game before that, he also really struggled. So I'd argue Mario had his second worst season of his career last year. And then 2018 is a close third, I would argue. And then 2019, although he got benched, I don't think it was that bad. I think the team wasn't doing great. And I think the Denver game was awful, but I don't think he was that bad. That's my opinion. I know people are going to disagree with that opinion, but that's fine. Yeah, it was the Buffalo game the week before when we lost 14-7, and then we lost to the Broncos 16-0. That one was bad. It was awful. It was awful. It was terrible. Hey, but we saved the season. We made the NC Championship, so it's all in the past, as Rafiki would say. It's all in the past. So Charles London comes in. So what happens to quarterback coach Pat O'Hara? Is he fired? No, he's being moved now to being a pass game analyst. So this means, I guess, he's just going to provide, ideas. He's going to watch a lot of tape. He's going to be, looking into a lot of analytics and ways to help this passing game. Interesting. This is really the first time we're ever in our history really using analysts like this. So he's going to be pass game analyst, run game analyst. So we now are moving our tight end coach, Luke Steckel, to now be our run game analyst. So now this is the first time I've ever seen the Titans have a pass game that are big coaches. I mean, you'll have analysts, and there will be pass game analysts, run game analysts, but usually you don't know who those people are unless if you're really doing a deep dive. But this is one of the few cases where, we're really putting experienced coaches, one that was a quarterback coach and a tight end coach, to specifically be these analysts and, being big on the coaching staff, being, big parts of it, and being, mainstay names in terms of the coaching staff. So run game analyst now with Luke Steckel. So what happens to the tight end coach, right? So now our running backs coach, Tony Dews, is being moved from running backs coach to tight end coach. So a whole bunch of musical chairs happening there. Why? I don't know. So Vrabel was saying he kind of wants to give guys different experiences, help their resumes, give them other things to do. Fine. Okay, whatever. I guess it's also, I guess, would be good, just for our players to maybe have a different coach, and just have a different perspective, and, to keep things lively, to keep things interesting, to keep the players engaged. So I'm fine with it. Now, one thing that I'm not in love with, so we are promoting our assistant offensive line coach, and let me get this name correctly because it's not an easy name, James Huff-Tailing, okay? Jason Huff-Tailing is being promoted from assistant offensive line coach to offensive line coach. Now, is this encouraging? No. Because our offensive line, look, I can't say that the entire offensive line staff was underperforming. I can't say that. But this is where, again, I would have been much more interested if we could have got someone outside. I would have picked up the phone and see if we could get Mike Munchak to come back, and coach for a year or two. I would have done that easily. I would have tried to get an offensive line coach elsewhere. I think we definitely need someone else in the room. Now, I don't know anything about Jason Huff-Tailing. I don't know anything about him. We're going to find out, and I'm going to do a deep dive right after this video. But it's not encouraging when we're promoting all these guys from within, when we've had problems from within. It's not encouraging. So that's another thing. Now, we did get someone outside, and we got Chris Harris, the defensive backs coach from the Washington Commanders. He's coming in here, and this I'm encouraged by. Because while the Commanders' cornerbacks have been a little inconsistent, especially in 2022, I think they've dealt with a lot of injuries. Not even I think, they have. They dealt with a lot of injuries. But I think he's done a good job in other places. Like he did a good job when he was with the Chargers, in my opinion. And then a stop or two before that. I've liked his interviews. I'm encouraged by Chris Harris. This is someone that I like. And I also like the fact that he was being considered to be the 49ers defensive coordinator. They interviewed him for that. And he's going to be, defensive backs coach here. Maybe down the road, if anyone ever takes Shane Bowen, which who knows if that's going to happen. But if anyone ever does, this is a candidate that I could see being defensive coordinator one day for us. I think he's really having an encouraging career right now at this point. And he's going to continue to elevate. So that is one guy that we got outside, and I'm happy that we got him. So him and Charles London, those are two guys I said that we got. So that I'm encouraged by. So that's the most encouraging thing to me. That is the most encouraging thing to me, that he's coming in here to be a cornerbacks coach. So and also defensive pass game coordinator. So that is the encouraging one to me. So we're going to see on this. Again, it's not particularly encouraging, but hey, Vrabel, it's on you. Okay, look, I hope he understands that he's putting himself on the line here, because we got a new GM. And while I think Vrabel might have a little bit more pull with Amy Adams Strunk, if we continue to lose games, I'm telling you, Vrabel, your leash may not be as long as you think. I still can't believe we fired John Robinson. I know everyone, the goalposts have moved, and everyone was expecting this. No, you weren't. No one was expecting John Robinson to be fired, especially in midseason. Stop it. Let's stop moving the goalposts on that. No one was expecting that. So we're going to see. Now, with that said, I did see a super chat that I want to get to, so let me get to that. Always, I will get to the super chats if I have time, and tonight I have time. So this super chat comes from Courtney Tyree Jones, who says the following. He says, keep up the good work. Shout out from Memphis. Thank you for the super chat, Courtney Tyree Jones. Any other comments that I feel like getting to? Any other points that anyone made in the chat that I feel like are worth noting? Let's see real quickly. Texans fans, there are a couple of Texas fans in the chat. Third Coast Sports TV, who's a Texas fan, he says he was okay at Courtney, nothing to write home about. Deshaun and the talent made him look good, so that's not very encouraging. Let's see what else we see here. Omar Nawabi says, I'd rather suck 1 year and be able to be in the running for Caleb Williams or May because those guys are franchise chambers. Tannehill is beating Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, etc. But I want to make a video on this, actually, probably maybe even this week. I want to go live on Thursday to really discuss more about what was happening, about us potentially taking next year and my current thoughts on this, because I actually have more thoughts on this. Rex says, I just find this as a lazy hire, in my opinion. A lot of people are saying the same. And also, I'll get to one more comment by Omar Nawabi, who says, as sports fan entertainment, what are your thoughts on the Titans being one of the two teams trying to trade up to number one? So this is a report that came out. I want to say it was by Ben somebody. You can find it on Twitter. But a report came out that the Titans are interested in trading up for number one. That was just one report. It was also from like a weird Bears blog, so we're not really sure how much credibility to really put to that. Now, my thoughts on it, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, look, I'm down. As long as it's not 4 first round picks. But if it's 3, I'm down. I'm doing it, guys. Look, and I want to make a full video on this, and I will. My biggest thing that I'm thinking about now, right? So everyone keeps telling me this. Everyone keeps saying this. Why don't let's next year, look, we have all these needs, apparently. And we do have a lot of needs. But so let's take this offseason. Let's rebuild the offensive line. Let's get more wide receivers in here. And then let's tank next year. Here's the problem. Assuming, and this is what we want. So let's assume that Rand Carthon does a good job in drafting these offensive linemen and these wide receivers and acquiring them in the offseason. Don't you think we're actually going to be a good team next year then? I mean, I'm not saying great. But if these draft picks that we're getting this year are actually going to be good, then Mike Vrabel should get us to at least being an 8, 9, 10-win team next year. And then you can't get the quarterback anyway. This could be it could be, I'm not going to guarantee it, but this could be the highest we're picking in a minute. It is the highest that we've been picking for now the last how many seasons? We haven't picked this high since 2016. So why are we believing 2017? Because technically we got the 5th pick with Corey Davis. Yeah, so 2017. We have not picked this high since 2017. That's 6 years ago. I'm not sure that we're going to pick this high again soon. I'm not sure. It could happen. There's reasons to believe that it will, but I'm not convinced. So until I'm convinced, I'm still down. I'm down. I like Young. I like Stroud. I'm mixed on Levis. And yeah, I'm still down, but we're going to see. There's going to be plenty of more time to discuss that. So with that said, that's going to do it for me. Here are my thoughts on Tim Kelly being promoted as now the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. What are your thoughts on this move? Comment down below. I want to know. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.